Welcome back to Emotional Mojo. So September is National Recovery Month. So to keep with the addiction and recovery theme, the following video follows the stories of several addicts and family and friends of addicts through the progression of addiction. It's really good. It's all spliced together into one powerful message. Here's just a piece of that.
I had started doing drugs I told myself I would never do.
Sniffing drugs like ketamine.
10 to 12 bags of
heroin,
cocaine,
crystal meth,
speedballs.
you name it, I had it.
I was stealing money from my parents on a daily basis.
Or my friends would steal from their parents and we would share it.
I struggled with what mode do I go in? Do I do tough love?
I was losing my brother.
There was nothing in his eyes anymore.
I would just lie in bed and wonder, is she going to be alive in the morning?
By around 9:30, 10 in the morning, I was blacked out.
And I immediately get a DUI. And they gave me an ankle monitor. I did 30 days time in the Tijuana jail.
And then I sat in this little booth, a little glass room. And then my sister came in an orange suit, and I was like, why are you here? Why am I here? Is this real?
I was pale, my eyes were completely shot.
And I was probably about 110 pounds soaking wet. Completely walking death.
He and my mother came to the conclusion that I couldn't live there anymore.
She was living in boxes on the side of the railroad tracks.
When you're young, you think you're immortal.
No one thinks that that it's gonna happen to them. And it does.
On Mother's Day, 11 o'clock, my doorbell rang. He was a detective, and unfortunately, he told me your son passed away.
August 11th, 2009, I got a phone call. I don't know if you heard, but Nikki died last night.
And I just threw the phone and started screaming.
It was sort of surreal.
So that video was created by the Hope Share Foundation, and the reason we show it to you is because those people definitely are not alone. 65% of families are affected by addiction in some way, and the road to recovery is never easy. So to get more insight into addiction recovery and relapse, we asked leading psychiatrist and author, Dr. Charles Sophy, to join us. Are you there, Dr. Sophy?
Here, how are you?
Welcome. We're doing well. And we're trying to get the word out and open the discussion of addiction and recovery. And it's not unusual to see addicts relapse after having a few months of sobriety. We've talked about this in the beginning of the show. Now you say, and this is very important for people to understand, that relapse is part of recovery. Why is that?
Yeah, it's a very odd concept to kind of wrap your head around, but you have to fall a few times before you can get up and run if you really haven't been walking well. And that's the only way to think about it, because it's a learning process. Yes, you're going to get sober, you're going to detox right away, you're going to get all the language, you're going to connect with all these people, but at the end of the day, you don't take the real time to get to know yourself, and that's the process. And sometimes in that process, you're going to trip and fall. And I think the best thing you can do with a relapse is to really learn how did that happen and how to prevent it. But it is part of getting better.
Dr. Sophy, this is Jada. We've talked about identifying triggers. How do addicts actually identify triggers to move forward?
That's such a key part of their recovery and really staying sober, is to really know what are those things that really get them into a place in their head or in their heart where they start to unravel, go under the cover, and kind of start to self-medicate or find a way to take away the pain. They need to have tools. So their triggers could be their relationship, their job, how they feel about themselves, lack of sleep, appetite, all kinds of things. But you, as the addict, need to understand yourself inside and out to know those pitfalls so that you don't fall into a relapse.
Dr. Sophy, this is Tara, and I deal with a lot with people with eating disorders, and I always say it's not about food, and for you with drugs and alcohol, it's about some underlying issue, and I'm assuming that that's what you address with people with addictions as well, is the underlying issue of how they got there to begin with.
Absolutely, 100%. There's a little bit of this genetics to this disorder, but then there's that underlying emotional comorbidity, co-occurring disorder, whether it's depression, it's a bad relationship, whatever it is, there's something at that core. And usually anger, self-esteem are really at the center.
So Dr. Sophy, there's definitely a balance. You have to keep your life in balance. And you talk about something called SWEEP. Can you explain what that is and how that can help?
Sweep is a simple way to kind of remember the 5 key areas of your life to really keep in balance while you're on your road to recovery, staying sober, and just keeping yourself in check because life gets really busy. And remember, an addict hasn't been really living life to its fullest and balancing well. So to remember to sleep and to eat and to do the things that you need to do to stay sober are tough. So 5 ways: sweep. Sleep, making sure you sleep well, you sleep enough. It's quality and quantity. The W is for work, making sure where you're spending your day, you're feeling fulfilled and it's work that is meaningful to you and you enjoy it. Eating is the first E, that you're eating regularly, you're not hypoglycemic and you're not running around hungry and irritable. And the other E is emotional expression of yourself, talking about your feelings and being in the right kinds of environments to share, communicate, and get the tools you need. And the P is play, playing with others and playing with your hobbies, those kinds of things that you do alone, things that you do with others, but recreationally.
So let's say I'm not an addict, I'm watching the show, but someone I know is, because a lot of us, we said 65% affected. What is the goal for families or friends of an addict? What should we be doing?
It's very difficult because they feel so helpless and they're also in a denial state. And 9 out of 10 times there's always a codependent person from that family connected to the addict, whether it's their spouse or their parent or their sibling or whatever. And so I think the best thing to do is find an Al-Anon meeting and understand your role in the whole process so that you can extricate or pull yourself out, educate yourself, because you can't go down with that addict. If you stay in denial with them, you're both locked into that. So families understanding it, or not even understanding it, but finding an Al-Anon meeting, Alateen for teens, people who are experiencing any piece of an addict, to educate yourself, to pull yourself back from it. That's the start of getting healthy yourself, because the whole thing won't get healthy until everybody's healthy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sophy. We appreciate you taking time out, especially on West Coast time, to join us. So thank you. And if you guys at home want more information on Dr. Sophy, you can visit our website, emotionalmojo.com, and we will link you up.